Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Collector Car Stories podcast here with CollectorCarCanada.ca. Today, it is the last day of August in 2025, and we are lucky enough to be at the Porsche Club of America Upper Canada Region Concours d'Elegance. So we had a vendor booth at today's show, and we even had lot 296, the 2001 Porsche 911 Turbo, at our booth for people to admire. We were certainly admiring it, and it caught a lot of attention. But now we're going to do a little tour of the concours cars, the judged cars, and the judging results are about to be announced. So you might hear some of that in the background, but we're going to take advantage of there being fewer people around the cars and tour you around what we find. So that's enough of an intro. Let's go check out some of the cars. So we're lucky enough to get some cheat sheets. And right now we're going to start with the the four-cylinder Transaxles. They're calling it Class 9. So the 924s, 944s, and 968s. I haven't seen it in action yet, but I understand that the 928s are in their own class, and that'll make the 928 people happy. They make the reasonable point that as a V8 engine, it shouldn't be classed with the 944s. So here's an earlier 944 in black. And this gold one, I note the supercharged emblem over on that rear quarter. So it's had some work done to it. Let's take a look at that engine compartment. I think I do see that supercharger 4 of the valve cover. Nice clean underneath. And here's another earlier 944. I see some upgraded rims on it, and some work's been done on that valve cover. Look at that. It's painted in red. And the last one in the line is actually a Porsche 968. So the 968 replaced the 944 in 1992 model year, but it only hung around through 1995. Interestingly, the foreign exchange rate, German Deutschmark to US dollar, kind of killed this car. And Porsche was in dire financial straits at the time. And what came along in 1997 model year, the Porsche Boxster, probably saved it. So there's our four-cylinder Transaxles. Let's take a look at what's next. So next we have the first two generations of water-cooled 911. The air-cooled 911 went from the 911's inception in the mid-60s through to 1998 model year, and then it was replaced by the 996, later the 997 in model year 2005 for the normally aspirated cars. The tell between 996 and 997 is the headlights, and we're going to walk along the fronts of the cars. So if they're, I want to say round, but technically not round. If we see oval headlights, we'll know it's a 997 and not a 996. So here's an example of the 997 headlights. Earlier 997. This one is the GT3 model 997. Very sought after car, quite valuable. Next, we have a 997 Cabriolet. By those rims, I'm thinking that's a later one, a 997.2. And another 997 here, finished in black, a dot 2. And here's the 996 headlights I'm talking about. You can see the base of the headlight is oval, but the frame itself extends that oval. So this would be a 2004 996 Cabriolet. So 996.2. They went from dot 1 to dot 2 for the 2002 model. Over here, another 997. A coupe in probably a seal gray, same as the color of 996 Turbo we had here at the show today. And then last in the line, another 996.2. So this one's what we call C4S, a Carrera 4S. Among non-turbos, certainly the most desirable 996. We can see the herringbone pattern seats here. Those have been changed out, I do believe. 3-spoke steering wheel, and look at that, it's a Tiptronic. So that'll do it for the 996 and 7s. We'll move on to some newer 911s.
The 992 generation is the current generation of 911. As you see, it started in the 2020 model year. This first car has a neat license plate on it. Love 911. You just got to be crafty with your Roman numeral reading to catch that one. Next up, Fly Girly on the license plate, but another nice sky blue. Over here we've got a Targa, modern Targa 4S 911. And then we've got a turbo. You can see those scoops in front of the rear wheels to indicate a Targa, and that's just to bring in air to feed that rear mounted engine. And last in the line here, we've got a green with gold trim GT3. So a GT3 is a step up from your typical 911, normally aspirated, but more related to power. 914. So the best way to win your class in the show and shine here at the PCA UCR Concours d'Elegance is to enter. Oh, and there's our little logo as a sponsor of the show. But the best way to win is to enter in a class where there is only one car. And that's what happened in the show and shine area of the 914s. This one's owned by a friend of the site, our friend Mike. And it's a 1973 Porsche 914 that Mike's done a really nice job with restoring. You can see the wheels there are a 5 lug, and they're the classic Fuchs wheels. I mentioned the 5 lugs because that is an upgrade from the 4 lugs that it came out of the factory with. You can see the black vinyl on both the top and the sail panel, as called in that pillar behind the side window. That top is a Targa top, a little different from the one we saw in the 992, but it's removable and it goes right into the trunk you see here. If that trunk seems long to you, it's because that roof panel fits in quite nicely. The sail panels are a nice contrast on this silver car as well. Mike's got the Euro indicator lights or tail lights. You can see the ambers for indicators. And they're working our way. You can see a little bit of his clean interior and goodie bags. Okay, so some G-body 911s and 912s in class 3. Working our way along. You can see the headlights on this silver car are sugar scoop headlights. That's what they're called in slang, Porsche slang speak. It's also sporting some roof wheels. Roof's a bit like roof to Porsche is a bit like AMG to Mercedes before AMG was picked up by Mercedes-Benz itself. But you can see these flared fenders, and there's a good look at the roof emblem in the center cap. Over here to the red Targa, a set of black Fuchs wheels with the chrome lips and a spoiler. You can see there's a spoiler in the front and the rear. And this generation, you don't have one without the other. A brown cabriolet. The first year of cabriolet in the G bodies was 1983, and you can see it's got those same Fuchs wheels as on the red Targa we just saw. There's a good look at them, black with the chrome lips. And last in the line, I was tricked. Originally, I thought this car was a 964 with those Cup 2 wheels, but a look at the headlights reveals that it's actually a G-body car. So working our way, we're going to move over now to the full concours. So this is where people paid a little extra to have their cars judged. As we get one last look at the red coupe with the Cup 2 wheels. So here's the full concours. So these people paid a little extra to have the hired hand judges as opposed to the peer judging. So this one's a 1964 356C. It took second place in its class in the full concours. Next is a red Cabrio. You can see the phone dial wheels, a stock item on some 911s, but more common on 928s and 944s. Here's an older 356 in black, and then there's this 1972 914, so separate from the silver one we saw earlier. It's got its original steel wheels, and as I say, it's a 72. Then here's the winner in the transaxle category. It's a black 944 S2, S2 implying that it's one of the later 944s whose run ended in 1991 before it was replaced by the 968. And then we've got a 88 928 S4. We picked up that the owner just picked this one up out of New York State. It's about a 70,000 mile example with updated rims, the cup rims, a bit like on a 928 GTS that came later. Then light green, we've got this early 944. It's a pre-85.5 car where the dash was restyled. Cookie cutter rims is what those are called. A little different from the Fuchs we saw in the 911s earlier. And then in orange, we've got a first generation for Cayman, which is known as the 987. The first generation of this body style was Boxster only 986. Here are the 928s. Here's a 1988 diamond blue metallic, which took third place in the peer judging among 928s. Next to it is a diamond blue 1987. You can see there's a slightly different shade of diamond blue from year to year. This one took first in the 928 show and shine category. Show and shine, peer judging are synonyms at this show. It's a good look at the clean engine compartment of Brian's car. Previous one was Eddie's. Next up, we've got Matt's, and it took this gray one took second place in the peer judging among 928s. You can see these 928 owners show some real pride of ownership, putting up the signs and the ads from the period. Yeah, a lot of pride ownership among 928s. And there's our friend Matt packing up. This is toward the end of the show, as they say. We're doing a voiceover because some of the announcements are going on, and looks like our friend Matt's getting ready to leave there. And then in behind, here's Kent's 928 GT, which is a 1989 model. You can see the wheels a little different from the S4s of the period. Here's a little information on his car, and it was neat to see those pop-up headlights in the up position, even though they weren't illuminated. Nice clean interior. And a good look, you can see that conspicuous GT decal to indicate it is a slight step up from the S4s. Into the 987s and 986s. Look at the headlights on this green one relative to the blue one. The green one's a 986, and then the blue one is a 987, which came a little later. And you can spot the difference between a 986 and 987, just between those two styles of headlights. You can see the difference there. And this blue one is a sharp car. You don't see that color of blue in a Porsche that often. Another green on tan with those headlights. It's a 986. And then this red one is a 987. A gray 986 Boxster. And then a newer one. This red one is a newer 982. Neat license plate, because we can. And then we'll scan over to see some of the row we just ripped through. That mint-colored Cayman is a neat color. Those three are all 982 generations of Cayman. And here's a 981 generation of Cayman S in yellow. Now we'll walk around to the back of the red GTS Cayman here. And you can see the tail lights there are similar to the 982s we just looked at. For branding purposes, though, Porsche called this a 718 Boxster GTS, even though the body style is a 982. So here's a look at the backs of the cars we just saw as well. Boxsters and Caymans everywhere. Can you tell the differences by looking at the headlights? They really are a tell. I'll let you pick those out. This green GTS 4 liter, that's a bit of a monster Boxster. And working our way through. And then this red one, 987 Boxster. And those chrome wheels would be refinished, but it really gives this car some pop. And some more Boxsters. The yellow 987, this silver 982, and then we've got the blue car, another Boxster. That silver one is a Boxster Spider. And speaking of Boxster Spiders, his copper one is a Spider RS. Let's work our way in a second here to the rear of the car. And you can see these, I don't have a more technical term than humps over the rear seats. And that indicates a Spider car, Spider RS for this one. And it is quite a performance car. The Boxsters in base form are great performance, but that's really something special. This orange one, it's got fun sign up front. It's a 981. I like the Beach Tour. That would have, the foot to floor license plates are also fun, but that would have caught the attention of some of the peer judges, I'm sure. A white one with those sharp gold rims. And then last in line, we've got a blue 986. This is a really stock looking base model original. We'll work our way around the back. It'll be a Boxster. It'll say Boxster only without the S. So that would indicate that in base form, it's a 5-speed manual. So moving to some closing thoughts, we've lost the audio here, so I'm doing new audio. But so that microphone I'm wearing on my chest is a ruse. But here we're standing in the parking lot of the show, and it's as good a place as any to tour around looking at the cars, because there's more variety in that they're not organized by model, and good variety. So right behind us we've got a 944 S2, and then further back is a 987 Porsche Boxster. You're probably used to those by the all the Boxsters and Caymans we saw, but people here just kind of come and go as they please. They don't need to worry about judges seeing their cars. And you can see I'm wearing a name tag reserved for members of the club. I'm lucky enough to be a member of this club. So I want to thank you for watching, and we're going to move on to the next car.